Oh man, what y'all know, man. You know, we still doing this Black August thing. You know what I'm saying? This is an ongoing thing. REG man, bringing solutions to our people. We definitely gonna be coming hard this month. You did. We talked about the economics. Now we're gonna deal with, and everything will go back to economics because that's what we lack. But we got Mr.DMeezy here. My Solutionology 101 man, and today class, tonight rather, you did. We're gonna be talking about, being realistic and being conscious. Because a lot of people, and myself included, we come into consciousness and we come in here with an expectation that things should be a certain way. And then when we find out when everything ain't what it seems, a lot of times we'll get upset and we'll backslid into the colonized mind, or to the lowly life of a Negro, because this person or this organization that we idolize and romanticize didn't do what we read that George Jackson didn't do what we read that Asada Shakur did, didn't do what we read that the RNA didn't do what we read that Malcolm X did. You did what I'm saying? And we'll take that to heart, and then and some of you Negroes will even jump to the other side and start propping up the enemy because you didn't get your hands dirty. Knowing darn well that time came. You Negroes be the first one to flip, but we ain't here to point fingers, man. We here to be, like I say, this is about, if we do critique and criticize, it's always going to go back to the solution. So before I go on my soapbox, I'm going to let, the solutionary professor himself, Mr.DMeezy, introduce himself, man. How you doing, God? What it be?
Man, my honor to you, brother. Thank you so much for setting up this platform so we can work to reach our people. Black people deserve solutions for our problems, and I'd like to be a part of those solutions.
Yes, sir.
So what you got on your mind tonight, brother?
Man, basically, man, I've been seeing, and it's been disturbing me for a while, and me and you have talked about this, man, basically ever since I've been knowing you for almost 8-9 years now. About a lot of people that I had great respect for, admiration for, and because they got trapped into a personality cult or some kind of fantasy world, and things didn't turn out to be, they go and become in opposition to what African liberation is about. And I understand because we come from a people, man, who have seen disappointment after disappointment after disappointment.
Right.
And a lot of times we get at our rock bottom at disappointment, and not just on a racial level, but also on a personal level. Especially when you have knowledge of self, and and when you and a lot of times when you know better, have knowledge of self, you strive to do better. So a lot of stuff that you will put up with as a Negro in the world, that you don't want to do when you aspire to be an African or a higher being, and because of that you suffer because it's not the status quo. So I understand, people backslid. I mean, like I said, I've been this thing since 2009, and I can't sit here and say that I've been just drawing that higher self and being the best African since 2009, because I had plenty of pitfalls. But I never became an enemy to African liberation or being in my higher self. are advocating decency. But a lot of these people, man, because a particular leader didn't pull a coup d'etat like Jack Dessalines in Haiti. Now these people want to go around sounding like Jesse Peters, you know, and it disturbs me, brother. You know, I used to listen to certain sisters who was pro-black, and you know what I'm saying, had the head wraps and the aunts who, man, real stand-up warrior sisters. I used to listen to brothers who was, you know what I'm saying, wearing camouflage, you dig it, you know what I'm saying, hosting people with guns.
He was attracted to the show of power and the show of strength and the cultural reaffirmation. That's what attracted you at that time, right?
Right, because you got to understand, in 2009, I was like, you know, 16, 17. And basically, at that point in my life, to me,
you're very impressionable. You're very impressionable. And
right.
You see all this. You have all these questions in your head, and you've seen all of this weakness that's been portrayed. This black people always being the losers, right? You don't know nothing about the rebellions. You don't know nothing about the resistance movement. People that are trying to promote some of this resistance to some degree, and and you're like, I want some of that. I don't want to just be on the losing side all the time. Is that about right?
Right, because you definitely worded right. Because at that time, I was looking at the criminals, you know, the gamers, the game, you know, that's who I thought, you know, was resisting. But the thing is, I was wise enough. I said, man, you know, these guys, you know, they hurting their own people. Even though they tough, they still hurting their own people and going along with it. So when I saw some people who was down with RBG, who was being tough and being macho, but wasn't talking about hurting their people, who was talking about uplifting the people, I say, man, I can get down with that. You dig what I'm saying? So I was emailing people, man. You dig? And at that time, in 09, 010, you know, you still had like Yahoo Messenger and stuff like that. That was still fairly popular before Facebook and all that, you know, really took off. So, and man, some of these people I was looking up to, man, I was sending these people money, not big money, because I didn't have no job at the time. You dig? And then these people disappear off the scene. Now they come back. They swerve. They advocate interracial relationships. You know, they sound like black conservatives. They got jobs now. The same people, you know, the same people saying, man, fuck a job for working for the white man. Now they doing it, and then they talking. No, I'm like, you know what's going on?
Well, one thing to let you know, that's why being spiritually centered is so important, and not worshiping your oppressor. And a lot of people worship their oppressor without knowing that they are doing it. But if you're not spiritually centered, you know, if you're not dealing with my eye, and you lack spiritual balance, then it's very easy to fall into that kind of stuff because you don't have the structure that takes you to different stages of development. You know, and then because you're not spiritually balanced, you're not spiritually centered and you're not spiritually balanced, you oftentimes are wrapped up in religion, so you end up worshiping your oppressor. And you can't help but say it wrong by that, even with the best of intentions. So you get a lot of that's going on, which is, of course, different versions of confusion. You know, at some point, you got to get into the African-centered spiritual tradition, or you have to be a part of the Black liberation theology perspective of religion. You have to go in one of those directions in order to get in. The Nation of Islam is on the Black Power. That means they're the Black liberation theology side, by the way. All right, they're not Christian, but they actually are. They're actually more Christian than Muslim.
Right.
But they are extended part of the Black church experience, even though they wouldn't say that they are, but they are. So that's, if they don't have that, man, they're gonna flounder, because if you're not balanced, then that you're gonna actually have a revolution against America with guns that you haven't thought all the way through, so you don't realize, okay, where you going to get the guns from? Well, I'm going to buy them. Okay, who's going to sell them to you? Well, the store, just like everybody else. Dummy. He said, okay, all right, who produces the guns? And, of course, at some point, they're going to have to accept that they're getting their guns from the same person that they're shooting at, right?
Right.
And not only you got to get your guns from them, you got to get your bullets from them. All right? So then you say, okay, now where's your tank? Where's your standing army? Where is your bazookas? Where are your drones? Where is your stealth bomber? Where is your destroyer? Where is your aircraft carrier? Where are your jet planes? Where are your helicopters? And then you have to say, okay, do you have a place where you can build them? Do you have a place where you can supply them? Do you have a place and the people that's able to do maintenance on them? Do you have a place where you can test your warheads and your bombs and your guns and your missiles and your bullets? And when you keep going in all that, and then you have to ask, okay, do you have it ready now? And if you don't have it ready now, how long will it take for you to get them ready? All right, how are you going to pay them? You see, how you going to feed them? How you going to clothe them? How you going to provide shelter for them? You see what I'm saying? How you going to supply?
No weekend thing.
Oh, no, because they haven't thought it all the way through. You haven't thought it all the way through. And you don't know what it takes to go into it. Having revolutionary zeal without revolutionary skills will get your revolutionary ass killed. All right? That's how it was shared with me. And that's why I repeat it. Because if you haven't thought it all the way through, you haven't read The Art of War. You've never read Clausewitz. You've never read anything by Napoleon Bonaparte. You've never studied Hannibal. You've never studied the great general Khalid, brother Khalid, down in Arabia, that fought against Prophet Muhammad and then fought for Prophet Muhammad. All right, according to the history. All right. If you don't understand none of these things that I'm talking about in terms of studying war and learning what's necessary to operate a war, you know, how did Alexander, the man who's called Alexander the Great, who's actually a Macedonian, how was his army able to move so fast? How was Genghis Khan able to operate so effectively? And Tamerlane, who came after him, how were they able to operate so effectively? You see, if you don't know about war and supply lines and how for every soldier in the field you have to have 10 people at home, the Israeli government said they can do it with 5. That for every one person out in the field, they got 5 people, which is considered to be extremely efficient. I doubt that they can do it with 5 people. But for every one person fighting, you need 10 people in support. And China has a 1 million man standing army. That's a standing army. That means these folks have to be fed, clothed, and sheltered on a regular basis. And they have to have people that can help them train on a regular basis. All right? Somebody got to supply the boots. Somebody got to supply the shoestrings. Somebody has to supply the guns. Somebody has to supply the bullets. Somebody has to supply the clothes, the pants, the belts, the buttons, the insignias, the patches, the medals, the stripes, the hats, everything you can think of. You know, all the cloth. Where's the cloth gonna come from? You see, do you have your own factory to make the cotton and make the fabrics turn into other materials? You see, if you don't have all of that, then you're not ready to wage revolutionary war against this beast. You see what I'm getting at?
Right.
Most people haven't thought that through. So once you realize that door is closed, you got to start narrowing down on what it is that you can do. What is it that you can do? Instead of talking about all the things you can't do, what is it that you can do? What is it that you can do? And one of the things you can do, of course, one thing you can do is write troops. One thing you can do is keep people informed. And one thing you can do is write a book or a pamphlet. One of the things you could do is make poems and plays. One of the things you can do is make movies. One of the things you could do is write and sing songs. One of the things you could do is get your finances up and hire other people. One of the things you could do is learn how to maintain long-term healthy relationships with a spouse and be able to raise your children, because black love is a revolutionary act. One of the things, see, these are things that you can do. These are things, you can open up your own business and operate it successfully with quality prices, quality service, and quality products. All right? These are things that you can do. You can support an institution that helps support black people. These are things that you can do. All right? You can open up a school. You can team up with other people who already opened up a school and help teach in that school. You can write curriculum. You can even make children's books that have constructs in terms of ideological constructs that help pass on messages from the past, so that they don't have to constantly just relearn this stuff and find it on their own like you have to find it on your own. You can put it in a different type of story so that the next generation can get it without having to look for it as hard as you did. All right, they have an advantage, and they'll view it as part of their lives. These are things that you can do. You can do like SETI and go on a lecture circuit and come with the PowerPoint to bang on that beast, arm yourself with knowledge daily, and liberation through education. All right? You can do that. You can do what Sarnetta done with Sarnetta TV, where he airs out the internecine battling back and forth between the different sections of religion that are keeping our people divided. And through that exchange of information, the people become more powerful. That had been denied this information from previous generations. Okay? You can do that. You see, these are things we can do. Black Power Awards down in Atlanta. All right? With Us Lifting Us. You know, you can do that. You can do that now. So it's things we can do. Yeah, LeBron James just opened up a school, right? That's powerful. Yeah, but Baba Sinzingo Kulu Zulu did that in Washington, D.C. 35, 40 years ago. All right? Our family over in Jackson with Eddie Ambo did that, didn't they? They opened up a school, didn't they? And that school is producing black excellence. Marcus Klein, producing black excellence. Anya and Palmer with the Marcus Garvey Academy and schools, producing black excellence. Many of these schools got students that are 2, 3, and 4 years ahead of their peers. Mm-hmm. All right? They're producing excellence. You even have Christian schools that are produce excellence. They typically are not on. Yeah, right. But they typically not 2. They're not 4 years ahead of their peers. But right. You have Christian schools that are doing that. Okay, and these are black people producing black excellence through those children. So we got folks that's doing this work. But when you first come in it, eyes wide open, eyes wide shut, more likely, you know, because you're blind, and you just ranting and raving because you're angry and frustrated, and you're looking for a victory because you're tired of these L's and this narrative that you always got to be on some we shall overcome type stuff, getting hit upside the head, and always got to take the worst end of the beat. You know, Rosewood, we lost. Tulsa, we lost. And everything you looking at, we lost. And they don't show you the other side of the resistance. That in Tulsa, one of the narratives that's often overlooked is that the black people was actually beating the white people back. They were actually resisting them until the National Guard came in and the airplanes came in and started dropping dynamite from the sky. You see? It was when the National Guard came in. It was when they brought train loads of white people to come in and overtake the city. That's how Tulsa fell. But the black men and women were actually standing up fighting, especially the black men. They were actually standing up and fighting inside of black Tulsa and was beating the white folks.
Laying them down.
Until they got overwhelmed with superior firepower, with superior numbers, and with airplanes dropping dynamite bombs from the sky.
Hey, you know what? And not to cut you off, but I was reading I think it was the Blood in My Eye from George Jackson, And he was basically saying the same thing in the system. Like, they was doing good with the hands, but the guards would get the arrogance and knives, and all they are, when they'll be into it, the guards will purposely maim the Aryans, but they will kill the Africans.
Right. He's highlighting how the inequities inside of the system. Yeah, what did you tell me about some porn star at one time? The porn star was complaining. You know, I'm getting paid less money, and we all doing the same screwing. You know, right? The system is rigged, all right, and it's rigged at every level. That's why, once again, if you don't understand white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything you know or think you know, understand or believe you understand will only confuse you. All right, and you have to start right there. If you don't start right there, you're gonna be lost. You're gonna be lost. You see, you have to start right there. Otherwise, you're gonna blame yourself for the crap that's happening. You're gonna think that this is your fault. You're gonna think it's because of something that you should have done or could have done. Or if you had done it this way, it would have turned out different. No. This shit is set up to be against you. You see what I'm saying? It's set up for you to lose. It's set up for you not to win. You can't overcome that by yourself. You one man fighting against the system. You one woman fighting against the system. You one man and woman fighting against the system. You one family fighting against the system. You one group fighting against the system. You one organization fighting against the system. If you don't understand that part, then you're going to lose. You're going to lose before you start, despite your best intentions. So you have to fight in a way that helps you win. That was the Jesus dilemma. They looking for Jesus to come like a warlord and come and just wipe the Romans out. And Jesus like, yeah, y'all don't even love each other. Y'all don't even like being around each other. Y'all fighting against each other. How in the hell you gonna beat the enemy and you steady fighting against each other? Hell, we got to get ourselves together first before we can go against them. But people don't see that in the story. They spend more time arguing over whether there was a Jesus and what color was Jesus, and if Jesus was the same Jesus that's Isa in the Quran. You know, is Jesus the white Jesus, or is Jesus a black and brown Jesus? Is Jesus learned everything he learned in Egypt and then got away from the mystery system to come back and do what he did? Did Jesus really die in 3 days, or did he ride? And you spend so much time arguing over that stuff that you can't deal with what's actually in the story related to a blueprint of a revolution and a revolutionary.
Indeed.
You can't deal with that part. You don't get that part because they don't teach you in that way. They teach you about Jesus suffering. They teach you about Jesus crucifixion. But like James Cone said, how in the hell you going to sit up there and talk about a crucified Savior, but you won't talk about a crucified people? How you going to talk about a man hung from a cross, but you won't talk about black people being lynched? Blind leading the blind, man. Blind leading the blind. When the blind lead the blind, you can't help but have false expectations. You can't help but have false expectations. You can't help but have a brother like Seti out here doing the lectures and the PowerPoint and breaking down the mental walls that people have had built for all of these hundreds of years, centuries, right, of calcified ignorance as it relates to religion and the worship of our oppressor. All right? And he comes in to try to break that up, and he uses his own special way to do it. And we could disagree with different aspects of that, but let's not let that distract us from the brother's genius. And then the next thing you know, you got people asking Seti to be the head of a movement. How did he go from being a lecture leader and a motivational speaker to being the head of a movement? Did you even see if that's his skill set? Does he have the skill set and the temperament to be the head of a movement? I don't recall him raising his hand and volunteering, saying, I want to be Martin Luther King. I want to be what Malcolm X was trying to be at the end of his life. I don't recall him saying that. Do you?
No, I don't, but
Did you hear him say that he wanted to be Mr. Farrakhan? Did you hear him say that?
No, I don't. But right quick though, and I definitely agree with you. But a lot of people, with the fact that he calls himself general, a lot of people take that to heart. They don't understand. They don't know how to separate, the energy of the lecture. And they say, because I used to hear people, call in on shows with him on there. They say, man, you're the general. You supposed to be doing this. You're the general. I'm like, why would this man put his claim if that's what's going on? Why would he be on airways?
Yeah, right. On the enemy's airways, the airwaves controlled by the enemy. Right? You still got to go get your license from the enemy to have your own show. You know what I'm saying? So the airwaves controlled by your enemy. You using their satellite. Crazy shit, man. This brother traveling alone across the country. Said he traveling alone. He ain't rolling 8 deep. He ain't rolling 12 deep. This ain't mob deep. This brother going alone and fighting against the popular convention, the traditional convention that have been built up regarding religion. Going in these towns he ain't never been in before, staying with people that he barely even knows sometimes. Having to trust in folks. That joke of living what Jesus said in the Bible. What would Jesus say? You go without leave your coat, take one coat, take one jacket, take one shirt and one pair of pants. Don't worry about what you're going to eat. Don't worry about where you're going to stay. When you get to where you're going, somebody going to take care of you. What? Ain't that steady? Ain't that steady?
Yeah.
Ain't that Umar? Wasn't that Khalid Muhammad? Wasn't that Dr. King? Wasn't that Malcolm X? And I'm not trying to say Steady and Umar is on the same level Malcolm and Martin Luther King, but of course the times were different. And the setup and the framework were different. And, Malcolm X had the Nation of Islam behind him, and Martin Luther King had white folks behind him. And the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and the NAACP to some degree. Okay? And so I'm not trying to make that a linear comparison. I'm just highlighting how they went through similar struggles. And they put it on the line on behalf of black people with their imperfections. With their imperfections. If you're around Maatic, Maatic praying, Martial Music and Bookstore, the divine goddess herself, who literally works and strives to live up to her name of Maatic, right? Maatic in the Nile Valley High Culture Civilization is considered the foundation of creation, without which there would be no creation. All right? So these laws and principles of truth, of justice, of order, of balance, of harmony, of reciprocity, of propriety, all right? Which when you add it up is a compassionate righteousness, okay? Yeah. When you deal with the 7 cardinal virtues of Maatic, which is what I just articulated, when you deal with that, you can't have a fully functioning universe without truth. You can't have without justice, because justice allows for a system of things that's designed to balance out. The balance that's there is wrapped up in Maatic. Maatic is not just one thing, and it's not just the words that it lists. The 7 cardinal virtues are to give you an idea of what Maatic is, of its ubiquitous nature, in that everything in the universe has to apply to those principles in order for the universe to operate properly. Hot has to be hot all the time. Cold has to be cold all the time. Wet has to be wet all the time. I mean, what would you do if you wasn't sure if fire was going to be hot or cold today? What would you do if you wasn't sure if water was going to be wet or dry today? What would you do how would you know where to plant your stuff? To plant it in the rich, dark soil, or plant it in the sand? What if the sand became the soil and the soil became the sand and you couldn't tell the difference? You see, it has to be something that's consistent in the universe for you to be able to predict what's going to happen in order for you to have a happy and orderly life. What if the meat-eating animals decide they won't eat plants today, and the plant-eating animals decide they were going to eat meat, and you couldn't keep up with what was going on? it would be difficult to have the proper order and balance in the world. I mean, I could keep going on and on with this thing, but my whole point is that we got people that are living this stuff today. They're living it today, whether they're on the scene like a Martin Luther King or a Malcolm X was, or Medgar Evers, right? Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Fannie Lou Hamer, whether they on the scene like that, or whether they are like General Seti, whether they're like Brother Umar Johnson and several others who travel the country doing that type of work. You know, our sister Maatic, Divine Goddess, you know, a lot of people, they be in awe of her when she's expressing her divinity, which is every day, but especially when an event is going on. But then they have a hard time dealing with the other part.
Indeed, man. You got to realize, man, people are human. I mean, people,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, like with me, most people who know me might say, you know, I'm a nice, smile-mannered guy, easy to get with, get along with, but I do have a few people who see my bad side who might say, man, that word ain't shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They won't accept you in the totality of your being. They want to limit you to your worst day.
Exactly.
I mean, don't limit me to my worst day. Please don't. Please give me some latitude and some leeway over my worst day. I ain't saying you need to forget it. I'm just saying, damn, don't limit me to that. Hell, I'm more than my worst day. I'm more than the worst thing that I allowed to happen. You know, I'm more than that. Give me something. I mean, hell, give me the same credit you would want me to give for you.
Right.
Judge me by the same standard that you would want me to judge you. That might be a start. That might be a start. Hell, that's in your Bible. Judge not, lest ye be judged. For the same manner in which ye judge, ye shall be judged. You know, not don't judge at all. If God didn't want you to judge, why He give you ears, eyes, nose, sense of taste and touch? Yeah, those are instruments for judging the environment around you. Instruments for judging the natural phenomena. All right? And so, yeah, you're supposed to judge on a regular basis. But you're not supposed to judge in a way that you don't want to be judged. You know, holding people to standards that you're not willing to hold to yourself. Now, I love the work that family members do, even when everything's not perfect. Look at Umar right now. Umar Johnson. Umar Johnson trying to open up a school. I think LeBron James just opened up a school, right? Didn't he?
Right.
All right. And this other dude named Alan Crabb, who plays for the Brooklyn Nets, he donated money to the Fred Price School. Fred Price at Crenshaw Christian Center in Los Angeles has a school that they run. And the school ran into financial difficulty because they couldn't get enough people to sign up and put their children in for the private school. All right? So even though it's a quality school, it does excellent work. And it has for over 30 years. So Alan Crabb, who plays for the Brooklyn Nets, went to that school as a child. And what he did is gave a donation to save the school from closing and to keep it running. All right? And he even got some of his ball player friends to help out as well. Okay? So this guy, Alan Crabb, instead of spending his money on Bentleys and helicopters and stuff, spent his money to keep a school that's actually doing good work going and open. All right? So here we got Umar Johnson. And Umar Johnson is being criticized. Didn't you say he was being criticized because LeBron James school opened?
Yeah, man, I'm talking about, man, you know, a lot of people tell you this is an opportunity to joke on them and roast them. You know, it's just real pitiful.
Well, you know, it's almost like you hate a person for dreaming big. You hate a person that can think outside of the slave paradigm.
Yeah, that's that crab in the bucket type stuff, man.
Yeah, to some degree, but don't forget the crabs didn't put themselves in that bucket. Okay?
True.
Crabs didn't put themselves in the bucket. All right. And so when you take crabs and put them in the bucket without identifying where the crabs came from and how they got into the bucket and who put them in the bucket, and what's the purpose for putting them in the bucket, and who the fuck make buckets and barrels, and then you just take the camera and aim the camera and look at the crabs, look at what they're doing. As long as you take that approach, then, you know, you're always going to be able to highlight some drama. But you got to deal with first things first about where was the crabs at before you put them in the barrel. Where was it before you put the barrel? If you don't deal with that, then you can't help but blame yourself for what's going on inside that barrel. I mean,
the crabs don't naturally come in barrels. They come in ocean.
No, crabs aren't born in barrels, all right? So somebody had to put them there. Well, who put them there? You know, where were they before you put them there? Why'd you put them there? What were they doing before you put them in the barrel? How were they living before you put them there? And if you're one of the ones in the barrel, then you're not gonna deal with that because you're getting your information from the outside that's talking about how bad you're doing. And somebody aimed the camera at you to watch you make a fool out yourself and then replayed it to you. Now you believe that you're your own problem. Marcus Messiah Garvey said, having had the wrong education, the black man has become his own worst enemy. Most people focus on the part that says, see, yeah, black people, we are our own worst enemy. They don't focus on the first part that says, having had the wrong education. What type of education makes black people their own worst enemy? Okay? Oppressed people always believe the worst about themselves. Why? Why? Why do oppressed people believe the worst about themselves? Hell, that's part of the oppression, ain't it? That's a byproduct of the oppression. Instead of talking about how people believe the worst about themselves and how that's horrible, why don't you help do something about the oppression? You see what I'm getting at? That's the kind of madness we deal with, man. So now Umar, because he could think big and because he don't want to be locked into the slave paradigm of dependency, where you're dependent upon your oppressors, you know, since other people around him don't have a plan to move from dependence to interdependence to independence, they're critical of him. And of course, if Umar had somebody financing the school like LeBron James, because LeBron James ain't running the school, he's financing the school and putting other people in place. Alan Crabb ain't running the school, he's financing the school and the other people already in place in that situation. Ooh, I mean, I can only imagine what it'd be like if Onion Palmer could get that donation, or if the Marcus Garvey schools that have that average 2 grades above their peers. In some cases, it's 4 to 5 grades above their peers. Some of the students are 4 to 5 grades above their peers. And some of them came in not being able to read or being several stages behind their peers and cohorts. Marcus Klein talks about that, about the schools producing black excellence, and how when they get the students, some of them students ain't hitting on nothing. By the time they finish with them in a year or two, they doing better than the students that they were once behind. So it ain't that we don't got people that can't teach. It ain't that our children can't learn, but you have to teach them in a different way. Can those places get the same donation that Umar Umar is looking for and that LeBron James was able to have access to? That Alan Crabb was able to bless the Christian school with? See, we not focused on the right thing. Barbara Osborne said we still don't get it. I'm sorry, man. I'm talking too much. I'm getting upset talking about this subject. We got false expectations that we ourselves are not willing to live up to.
Right. Just like with and it brings it close to home. Just like with with the organization that we're part and parts to, Respect Our Black Dogs. You know we ain't got to say no name because it ain't in hate. But we come across many a brother sister who came in expecting us to be some kind of either a Black Panther outfit or some kind of business opportunity, and then it didn't turn out to what it was, and now these people got hate in their heart. You know? Yeah. Well, they heard Respect Our Black Dollars, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, that's great," and they like, "Yeah, I'm black, and I need me some dollars, and I need y'all to this one." Right. And so I'm gonna go join Respect Our Black Dollars, and they're looking for all the members that's in the group to come and support their personal endeavor. They're not looking at this to support all black people. They're not looking at this to lift the collective well-being of black people as a whole. They wanted to deal with them as individuals.
y'all come spend y'all money with me. And that's what I call respecting our black dollar. You know, you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
One brother got mad because he wanted everybody to drive all the way out of town to come eat at his restaurant that didn't have no chairs.
You couldn't even fellowship in the joint.
You know, he hadn't thought it all the way through. But he wouldn't put no flyers out in the same area that was right around where he was. That's crazy. That's crazy. He wouldn't put flyers out 1 mile down the street where there was 4 apartment complexes. But he's mad at the members of Respect Our Black Dollars for not coming out and giving him the support that he felt he should have. And don't even got no damn tables and chairs at the restaurant. Work with me now. Another brother, similar situation, got some items, you know, a small store with some memorabilia and some jewelry, you know, a few items, and couldn't do good no matter where he was at. And he felt like if he went by your business and brought something from you, then everybody whose business he went to was supposed to come buy something from him. But he didn't have nothing. He didn't have nothing that most of those people wanted. I'm not trying to pick on people. I'm just highlighting short-sightedness.
Hey, and just to go in right there, and here's my problem with people who think like this. Business relationships usually take longer to cultivate than personal relationships. You got to remember, when you go into a business, you're doing business when you buy something.
Correct.
You're not going there just for your health. You get, for example, if I come buy a DVD from you, or I come to your lecture, because I know you bring the lecture that provides solution-oriented healing.
Yes, I do.
You did. I'm not going to sit here, you know, because I was previously, not too long ago, I was in the car selling business. But I'm not going to expect for you. But I'm wired different. I was raised in a stable home, so I can't expect everybody to feel like how I feel. But I'm not going to expect for you to send me to either buy a car from me or send you to buy cars from me because I come to your lectures and I support your lectures.
Correct. Right. Exactly.
Because I'm getting what I need from you at that point. Now, don't get me wrong. I would appreciate at some point.
Right.
But I'm not. But that's after we build our relationship over a course of years. That's not an immediate thing.
Correct. And then too, I have to need a car, and then you have to have a car that I want at a rate that's favorable. Right?
Exactly.
Okay, and then you also have to be reputable enough for me to tell other people that they should come to your business. And then if I send people to you, and then the people come there and they don't like what you have, they either don't like your product, they don't like your service.
Shitty.
Yeah, right. They don't. Your service is crappy, your attitude is shitty, or your prices is off. And people actually come by there because I give you a plug, but then they don't want to buy nothing. You can't come back to me and say it's my fault and I need to work harder to get people to support you.
Hey, guess what? If my business is subpar and you send people to me, that's going to make you a lot of damn fool.
Correct.
Now that's going to hurt you. They say, man, this man giving lectures talking about solution-oriented healing, and he sent me to a goddamn corn artist who's selling death traps.
Crooks, con artists, and cronies, right? As opposed to quality black-owned businesses, you know, as opposed to spaces which produce black excellence. So we have to have a higher standard in terms of how we conduct ourselves. And we got to know how black people are. Black people are pickier with other black people that do business. Black people get pissed off with a person that does. If a black person gets pissed off with another black person, they're not going to support that black person. Now, I didn't understand what that was, but fortunately, Dr. Edwin Nichols, who I was introduced to by way of Joy DeGraw Leary, right? And then I was able to be blessed with Philippe Schott Matthews, who showed Edwin Nichols, and then I started looking up Edwin Nichols, and then I started dealing with his literature, all right? And he deals with axiology. Okay, and in this axiological framework, it shows you how what the leverage points of different people's relationships are. And you find out that in different cultures, different people or different groups of people have different leverage points as it relates to the dynamics of their relationship. And so your worldview is related to your axiology, and your axiology is related to your worldview. All that being said, black people have a tendency to personalize things to a greater degree than other people when it comes to relationships. So two black people, one of the examples is given, Enjoy the Grind Liberty book. Two white men have been working in this office for over 20 years. Neither one of them liked each other. And they have been working to stab each other in the back over that 20-year period. But for all 20 years, they stayed cordial, they greeted one another, and they took care of business. And she was pointing out that if there had been two black men, that probably wouldn't have lasted for 20 years. Might not even made it through two years, right? Because the two black men would have took it as a personal affront that my coworker is plotting against me. This other black guy is plotting against me. Now, they can deal with it if a white guy is plotting against them, because the white guy comes from a different cultural value system, and it has a different set of expectations. But when another black person do it, they have a different level of expectation for the other black person, because they think that the black person understands that ain't the way we're supposed to treat each other. You see what I'm saying?
Indeed.
So we hold each other to different standards than we hold other people. When you go into business, you have to know that. You have to know that as a black business person, you're not going to get supported by other people, other than black people, for the most part. And there are some exceptions. If you got a barbecue joint and you serving certain type of food, white folks are going to line up around the corner. All right? But for the most part, most black business persons have to depend on the black community, because other groups of people will not support you once they find out you are black owned. Black people are some of the only people that support other businesses that are owned by other people who will not support them. Okay? And that's the real. That's the real.
Indeed, man. Like, you'll see black people in Chinese and Mexican, eateries. But man, I ain't never seen a Chinese and Mexican. Like, I just, not too long before I started broadcasting, I got a parent trap plate from Fish Hut over there in Georgetown, on Martin Luther King. Great service, great product. Huh?
I know what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, man. And I've never seen, and I frequent there pretty often, I've never seen a non-black person, a non-African shop over there. But yet, you see us there everywhere. You get to know that about our people, so
but you got to know that.
Yeah.
See, we literally need studies on ourselves. We literally need to learn how to deal with the diversity in our own community as opposed to seeking diversity from other communities. Okay? Where we haven't had those lessons most of the time. Most of our leadership do not sit down to have those lessons. And that's not to say if we did that most black people would show up, which means you have to have more black leaders doing it. If the only people doing it is the so-called nationalists, then most of our people going to miss it. Because most of our people do not tune into that frequency of know thyself, love thyself, to save ourselves. They don't tune into that frequency.
Yeah, because we want something free.
Well, they can do it. They can do it the way I just said it. The way I just said it, they can do it. Okay, love thyself, know thyself, to love thyself, to save ourselves. They can get it if you say it that way. But if you start talking about the white man this and the black man that, then you're going to lose it. Because anytime the majority of black people think you talk about hate, especially as it relates to white people, then you're going to lose those black people. You're going to lose them. Okay? You're going to lose them. And you have to know that about your people, that's the conditioning of your people. If you don't know that, then you don't know what you're dealing with. Let me close out, brother, because I'm running out of time. And I'm also getting frustrated and angry with this conversation. Talking about SETI, talking about Umar Johnson, Marcus Klein, talking about Adiambo, talking about the Marcus Garvey schools and academy, and the excellence that they have been working to produce, the sacrifices they made, thinking about America Ever and Fannie Lou Hamer, thinking about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, thinking about Marcus Messiah Garvey, with J. Edgar Hoover, fighting against each and every one of them, and the black community not properly supporting them, thinking about the lessons that are engaged in the stories as it relates to Jesus, and not seeing it as a blueprint for a revolution and a revolutionary, but instead only focusing on whether or not what his color was and whether he was born in Palestine or Ethiopia, or did he go to the mystery school and drop out, or did he ever go into India, or was he strictly in Palestine and Egypt? And we focus on the wrong stuff. You see what I'm saying? That's my point. Okay,
hey, it's like Marvin Gaye, make you want to holler throw both of your hands.
Make you want to holler throw both of your hands. That's how I feel right now. Not studying the art of war, not understanding supply line, not understanding the battlefield and the battlefront, not understanding the theater of war, not understanding of what it takes to go into war, have a revolutionary zeal without revolutionary skill, which results in our revolutionaries constantly getting killed, especially at very young ages. All those things are making me frustrated talking about them right now. So let me just close out, dear brother, there is no valid substitute for reading, research, and study. It is difficult, near impossible, to properly love oneself without the holistically accurate knowledge of self. We must conquer our fear of freedom. Knowledge of self is the key to salvation. Know thyself, to love thyself, to save ourselves. One life, one love, one enemy. One God, one aim, one destiny. Maatic, may we prove worthy of abundant prosperity and continue to be a blessing to others, especially those in need. Much love, brother.
Much love, man. Maatic, and to the freedom fighters of Conrad, Happy Black August, we use Augusti, and we see y'all next time in the next section of my Solutionology 101 with Mr.DMeezy.